If you're just joining, this is Irving Park. This is the BLM caravan just wrapping up. Woo! Black Lives Matter! No, it's not a traffic jam. These people are happy. Happy to be in traffic.
Twitch, NE10 Love Machine says, Biden is going to jail. Twitch, NE10 Love Machine says, this is just a show.
Found some friends too. Hey. Hey.
Oh, hey!
I brought your sunglasses.
Oh, we found them.
Yes.
I didn't know where the hell they were.
I sent you a message. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, you too. Okay, I don't know what's going on with my stupid gimbal here.
Let's go. Where have you been?
Just eyeball outside of his eyes.
Hi, I'm Philip.
I'm Heather.
Nice to meet you. I guess the helicopter's down at Rev Hall. Now they're here. They're getting started over here.
I'm so grateful to see all of us faces here today. As we all know, this is such a monumental, historic day. Because this is the day we dumped Trump. Oh! He's gone, he's out. And that,
YouTube,
and that is
Suzuki6 says, I thought there was a dangerous pandemic going on.
It is, absolutely. So I'm glad that we can gather here in that spirit of celebration. But I think it's also so important that we recognize that we must gather here in the spirit of existence today. Because just because Donald Trump is out of office doesn't mean that the fight is over. My friends, the fight has just begun, okay? The fight has just begun. Because the damage that Donald Trump inflicted upon this nation's democracy in the last 4 years cannot be undone quickly. And it cannot be undone by the likes of Joe Biden. So who's going to do it? We are, okay? For real, I mean that. I mean that. And so like I said, I'm grateful for y'all to be here this evening. We're going to have some fantastic speakers come up and share their thoughts and share their opinions. After that, we're going to have a march where we're going to really kick this year off and make our voices heard. Thank you. So to get things started, I'm going to share some of my thoughts. Once again, my name is Ray, one of the band leaders of the Frontline Drumline. And man, what a year it's been. God damn, what a year it has been. You know, I think back to New Year's Eve of 2019, right? What I was doing on that night, what my life looked like way back then, right? I mean, I spent that New Year's Eve at a video arcade playing games, making toast, hanging out with friends, like a lot of you, right? Just chilling. And then I think back to New Year's Eve 2020, just a few weeks ago, right? Which I spent marching to defend my basic human rights and standing firm with my comrades in the streets once again after countless nights to protest police brutality, okay? And it blows my mind because the period of time between these two events was so small, right? Just 365 days. And yet the dichotomy between these two experiences is so vast that it feels like they were lived by two different people, right? I want to engage in a little thought experiment with everybody, if you bear with me. So imagine stepping through a time portal, right? Going back to the year 2019, sitting down at a table with your former self and having to explain to them all the events that transpired in the year 2020. What would you say? Where would you even begin? Mass death and illness caused by the onset of a global pandemic that initiated an international health crisis, a nationwide civil rights revolution against the historic and ongoing murder and brutality inflicted upon black people by police in this country, the escalation of Donald Trump's fascist rhetoric and instigation that culminated in a coup upon this nation's capital in the beginning of this year. Imagine having to explain all this to your former self. What would you say? And would they even believe you? So, a little bit about me. I'm a teacher. I'm a preschool teacher. And for years, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a preschool teacher, and I've worked for years with children in a number of different capacities. And over the years, I've witnessed a particular moment that occurs in the lives of all children. It's that moment when a child suffers their first major injury. A serious cut, a burn, a broken limb. And cataloging this moment in the lives of a number of different children, I've come to recognize a shift that occurs within the consciousness of that child. Something fades in the glint in their eye. That child goes from trusting wholeheartedly in the safety and comfort of their world to becoming aware of the possibility of real harm being done to them. The child comes online with a new awareness of pain and danger that never leaves them. And just hear me out. I believe that many people in this nation experienced a similar moment in a different sense in this year. The sense of trust that so many people had in American democracy has been punctured by the needle of fascism. And people are waking up to the fact that peace, justice, and freedom are not a given. They are fought for. Okay? But I think the fact that so many people are just now waking up to that reality is a testament to the truth that there is not one, but two Americas, y'all. Okay? There is white America, in which justice is served, in which people's needs are met, and in which life is valued and respected. And then there is Black America, in which there is no real justice, in which people are left to fester in abject poverty and illness, and in which the sanctity of life and one's inherent right to peace and equity are not valued, okay? They do not matter to people in people's eyes. But I'm here to tell you today that this is done, okay? This inequity is done. We will no longer tolerate this vast disparity in human rights and in freedom because Black lives do matter, okay? Black lives matter. So I've been thinking about something a lot because recently I was given a book by my father titled Begin Again. And this book is about the life and works of James Baldwin, a Black organizer, author, and poet who lived in the Black Civil Rights Movement in the 50s, 60s, and beyond. And this book described how after decades of toiling under the ceaseless onslaught of racism and oppression inflicted upon him as a gay Black man living in America in the mid-20th century, he fled to Paris in an attempt to focus on his writing and heal. And he remained there for years, all the while watching the beatings,
Jacques
the
says,
lynchings,
Black Lives
the
Matter.
imprisonments of his brothers and sisters and comrades back in the States. And finally, he realized that there is no escape, okay? It didn't matter how far he ran, because the war was still being waged on his homeland and in his heart, okay? And I feel that same pain. That same desire to want to run away from things, but that knowledge that I cannot. Because being Black in America, we all know that there is nowhere to run. There is nowhere to go, okay? Wherever you are in this world, if you are Black, you have to fight to have anything, okay? Freedom is not given to us. We have to seize it and hold on for dear life every second of every day. And now, white America, you're gonna carry that weight. You're gonna carry that weight. Because you have but a taste, the slightest inkling of what it's like to have your peace compromised. And rest assured, Donald Trump's fascism isn't going away because he's been impeached. White supremacist violence isn't disappearing because Donald Trump's term is officially over. As a matter of fact, this country was founded on white supremacist military and paramilitary violence. It's encoded in its DNA. You've merely been safe from it until now. Okay? You've merely been safe from it until now. And let me be crystal clear. Yes, I am speaking about the legacy of violence and exploitation against Black people and the urgent need for total abolition of police, full stop. And yes, I am speaking about the very real and imminent threat of fascist overthrow by the hands of Donald Trump and his cronies. But I'm not speaking about two separate issues. That's something you need to understand. I'm not speaking about two separate issues here. These are two sides of the same coin. The oppressive forces that have allowed for centuries of indescribable violence against Black bodies, hearts, and minds are the same oppressive forces that now allow for the encroachment of fascism within the White House. Okay? So this speech is about white supremacy and how it must be stopped. That's what this is about, okay? So when you watched the footage on social media or on the news of the droves of white supremacist zealots scaling the walls of the Capitol building, when you heard about the people who died that day, I hope that shit radicalized you. I hope it did. Because what this country needs now is not lobbying. Okay? It's not Senate debate. It's not punditry, and it's not politics. What we need now is grassroots radical action taken by every individual, okay? And I'm not here how to tell you how to do it. I'm not here to hold your hand and show you how to get involved. At this point, that falls upon you to figure out, okay? And I mean that in the most sincere way. I'm not here to scorn anybody. I'm serious. At this point, we need everybody, but we also need you to take initiative and figure out what it is you have to offer the movement. Because democracy only works when you live in a democratic state. And in the last 4 years, Donald Trump and his band of white-collar thugs, who now populate the White House, have eroded the infrastructure of that democracy to a shambling husk and exposed the infrastructure of white supremacy that the White House was built upon. Okay? So it should be clear that Joe Biden isn't going to save us. Because at this point, it doesn't matter who is in the White House. A dictator could care less. Okay? And furthermore, Joe Biden, let me tell you about Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a feckless puppet of the centrist Democratic establishment who is only president because of his ties to corporate interests. Okay? Can we get that through our heads? I'm preaching to the choir, but here's a pill that might be a little harder for you to swallow, okay? So, progressive political actors like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they're not going to save you either, okay? And let me be clear, don't get me wrong. It's essential that we have strong progressives circulating the White House. But now, this is the people's fight, okay? This is the people's fight. Because our political champions only have as much power as we imbue them with. And you see how much power white nationalists give Trump, okay? And they've got the guns to back it up. So what are we, the people, going to do? Because the coup didn't end at the Capitol building. That was merely where it began, okay? And now power is up for grabs. So we must seize it. We the people, okay? We the people who believe in racial equity and justice. We the people who believe that queer, trans, and gender non-conforming people are beautiful and deserve safety and peace. We the people who believe that it is well past time we go beyond acknowledging that we're on Indigenous land and start actually giving back Indigenous land and recognizing Indigenous sovereignty. We the people who believe that disabled people deserve access to the services and rights that they need to have a high quality of life. We the people who believe that no human being is illegal and that it is morally abhorrent to lock children and innocent civilians in cages. Okay? We the people who believe that science is real and that no expense can be spared in combating climate crisis. We the people who believe that capitalism exploits the poor and working class, and that wealth and opportunity in this society must be reallocated in an equitable way for everybody, okay? We the people who believe that healthcare is a basic human right, and that the death and illness caused by COVID-19 could be drastically curbed by an equitable redistribution of resources, okay? We the people who believe that Black Lives Matter. We the people must fight. We must organize. We must occupy. We must divest. We must disrupt. We must resist. Because if not us, then who? And if not now, then when? okay? So yeah, it's a new year, okay? But the story hasn't changed. So I ask you, how are we, the people, going to rewrite it? Thank you. Thank you all so much for listening. Like I said, we have some fantastic speakers coming up this afternoon. So I want to get that ball rolling, but real quick, I just want to take a minute to get real with y'all. So recently, I was stricken with some serious physical health issues, right? And that require serious and expensive medical attention. And I work part-time, and I don't have insurance, so that I can be here on the streets continuing this fight, so that I have the energy to engage in this fight. And it's a difficult thing to lean on your community and ask for financial support, but I believe in mutual aid. Okay? And I believe that we take care of each other. So if you do not have the ability to be out on the streets engaging in this work on the front lines, okay? Or even if you do, I ask that you donate what you can to my Venmo. That's Ray for Revolution at Venmo. Once again, that's Ray, R-A-Y, the number 4, Revolution at Venmo. You'll find me under the name Ray Austin. Once again, thank you all so much. I'm going to keep it rolling. We've got some speakers coming up. Next up, we have Robin White, who's both Cheyenne and Lakota. He is enrolled in the Oglala tribe and is a Pine Ridge member. He is an artist, activist, organizer, and labor for native rights, human rights, environmental and climate justice. Give it up for Robin White.
Thank you. Everywhere you go in this country, you are on Indigenous land. You are on Indigenous land today. You are on the lands of the Multnomah, the Clackamas, the Kalapuya. Everywhere you go in this country, you're on Indian land. And why do we have land acknowledgements? Because we're unseen. We're invisible. Why am I speaking to you? Because you're here. You're doing the work. You are the people that are making the change. You are the people that are willing to stand up and do what's necessary to make that change. You are powerful. You have power. Natives today are trying to reinsert their sovereignty. They are sovereign nations. They are guided by the highest law in the land. Treaty law is the highest law in the land. And yet, we suffer. We're number one. We're number one in a lot of things. We're number one in being killed by anybody in authority. We're number one in deaths of diabetes. We're number one in being murdered and being missing. Particularly missing Indigenous women by the thousands. But yet we're not heard and we're not seen. On my reservation, we've got 90% unemployment. We've got children as young as 6 committing suicide. We're dying of things that people quit dying of 70 years ago. Every year we have a winter kill count of human beings that have died from freezing to death. During COVID, Indians are most likely to die of COVID. We're most likely to be murdered. We're all these things we're number one in. We don't want to be number one. We need you to help us with our sovereignty. We need you to help with our capacity. Tribes have to deal with the United States government on a one-to-one basis. Can you imagine what kind of personnel it takes to do that? What kind of money, what kind of time it takes to deal with the United States government on a par? It's incredible. So we depend on other people to help us watch the corporations, watch the government, help us understand what's going on in your neighborhood, in our neighborhoods. We're often depended on to be looked to what we're supposed to be doing for the environment, what we're supposed to be doing for the water. If you're doing the right thing for water, you're doing the right thing for everything around you. If you're doing the right thing for water, your relationship with your fellow human beings will get better. Your relationship with the world around you will get better. Your relationship politically will get better. These are things that you can do. We need that. There's a difference between the tribes and with Indians. 80% of us live off of reservations now. So we have these large groups of urban Indians that got here not by their own volition, but by being taken away as children when they're 5 or 6 years old and dropped in Indian schools, never to return, and then dumped in cities or dumped wherever they are. We come to these cities as refugees when during the times when we were doing civil rights for black people and everybody else, the Indians got passed up. The Indians are always getting passed up. So when you're talking about these 80% of these people that got here, a lot of them got here when they were trying to dissolve those tribes during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and dropping people into these cities and saying, you're no longer an Indian. You're not a white man either, so you're not going to get anything. But they were dropped here. They're economic refugees. They're religious refugees. Until just a few years back, we weren't allowed to practice our own religion. We weren't allowed off the reservations without permission. We weren't allowed to vote. We're just getting voting boxes on some of our reservations. But we're resilient. We know that we can be here. We know that we can survive. But we need your help. We need you to be allies. We need you. Everything, when you're my labor folks, my fellow labor organizers, my fellow labor leaders, when you're doing your labor work, what are you doing to ensure that Native people are getting a fair shake in there? What are you doing? When you're doing your Medicare for all, are you thinking about those people, those children, those people that are dying on those reservations and in the cities every day? If you're doing climate justice work, are you making sure that everything you do as environmental justice are you thinking about the Indians? Are you making sure that those government agencies that you're working with are consulting with the tribes? It's your responsibility to help your brothers. It's your responsibility to do this. Nobody else's. It's something that we have to do. You have to lift. If you go to the bottom and lift the Indians up, guess what? You're lifting everybody else up with you. But you're powerful. You are powerful. You have the power to do this. There are more of us wanting to do the right thing than there are of those assholes that are wanting to do the wrong thing. You are powerful. You can do it. You are the human beings that are going to make the difference. Welcome to the on-ramp. The on-ramp of the highway of doing the right thing. This is your chance to really start turning these things around. But this time, let's make sure that the Indians get on the bus too. Let's make sure that we're not forgotten. Let's make sure that as you use that power, that you're bringing those people up with you. If you're black, if you're brown, whatever you are, if you're white, take that moment. When you're making a speech, I see the politicians all the time, and they go through the litany of black people and brown people and Asians, but they never seem to get to the red people. You know, if you're doing that, start with the red people once. See how that works. You know, let's try and bring that up. Let's try and make people understand that we are alive, that we still exist, that we are important, that we are human beings. You are important. You are powerful. Go out and do the work and make an army. Make an army. Get more folks. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you so much, y'all. Let's give one more time for Robin White. That was beautiful. That was powerful. As far as I'm concerned, there is no justice until there is justice for Indigenous people in this country. And that's a thought and a fight that should never leave our hearts and minds. Next up, we have Susie Kassoff, who's an educator, a teacher at Grant High School, and one of the co-founding members of Sunrise PDX. Everyone give it up for Susie Kassoff.
Which is a climate justice organization fighting for justice all over this country. So I'm here today to speak about climate justice. So let's start with a show of hands if you've heard about the climate crisis. Go ahead and raise your hand. All right. Everyone's hands are up. I love it. All right. Show of hands if you think it's a big deal. Pretty big deal. Yep. Hands are up. Okay. Show of hands if you think that it's such a big deal that it actually affects all of life on Earth. Hands up. All the hands. Yeah. Yes, you'd be right. As many of you probably know, in 2018, the UN climate body said that they put out a report that said, quote, rapid, far-reaching and unprecedented change is needed in all aspects of society to prevent climate catastrophe. Rapid, far-reaching and unprecedented change. And they gave us until the year 2030 to cut our global emissions in half if we want to prevent runaway climate change. So I want to see a show of hands if you think that Joe Biden, without a movement pushing him, wants rapid, far-reaching, and unprecedented change in every aspect of our society. No. Right, he's told us repeatedly that he wants to preserve the status quo. He wants to return us to a pre-Trump America. Is that good enough? No, it's not good enough. But there's good news. This summer, 26 million people poured into the streets all around this country declaring that Black Lives Matter. Yes. And we saw visionary organizing from the Movement for Black Lives and their partners. And let me tell you, all movements for justice are one. It's no accident that the people who are hurt first and worst by the climate crisis and by environmental injustice are Black and brown, right? We're talking about 9 out of 10 farmers on the continent of Africa not being able to grow food by the year 2050. Entire island nations being swallowed by the ocean unless we act. We're talking about the child in Flint, Michigan, who was so severely poisoned by drinking her tap water, hundreds of children, that the effects of lead poisoning will affect her grandchildren. No more. Say it, no more. It's no accident. The same exact structure that allows these things to happen, that allows us to exploit the earth as if she were dead, as if she were not the living, breathing organism that our indigenous siblings tell us she is the same exact structure that feeds black and brown and poor bodies into the machine of capitalism as if they were just cogs meant to just create and amass profit for the ruling class. They used to be called royalty, and now they're called billionaires. Say it again, no more. No more. Right. So now, right now, is our moment. We have a president in the White House who does not want the change that we need, and so we need to tell him, it's not up to you. It's not up to you. We need to be more organized and more powerful than we have ever been before. So if you're here today and you're not part of a group yet that's organizing for change, then I want you to listen to the speakers tonight and find one that sets your heart on fire, and then go talk to them. Go talk to the booths around you and ask, how can I get involved? How can I join this group? And if you're here and you're part of a group, I want you to ask yourself, how can I make my group the most welcoming place possible? How can I make it a place where people feel loved, where people feel seen, where people feel appreciated? How am I linking my cause for justice, climate justice, economic justice, racial justice, disability justice, queer justice, trans justice, with the causes for justice all around me, for the liberation of all people? How is my group disassembling this structure of oppression, not only out in the world, but in our groups? How are we resolving conflicts with a focus on love and justice, on healing and transformation? Because we can do it. How do we create a movement that is focused on joy? Because I want to tell you, fighting for our world and for our people, is joyful work, and it really can fill your soul in a way that nothing else can. Yeah, and so we're really lucky because here in Oregon, a diverse coalition, and I mean diverse in every sense of the word, racially diverse, class diverse, gender diverse, mimicking that beautiful biodiversity that makes nature so strong. This diverse coalition led by people on the front lines of the climate crisis just a few days ago launched the Oregon Clean Energy Opportunity. And let's hear it, yes. And it's a campaign that will pass 3 bills this year in the Oregon State Legislature. 1, make utilities affordable for all people, yes. 2, retrofit homes all over the state for sustainability and safety. And 3, create hundreds of good-paying jobs in the renewable energy sector with a focus on racial and class equity. Come talk to me if you want to get involved. Talk to somebody today. Get some skin in this game, because now is the time. Thank you.
Once again, let's give it up for Susie Kassoff, everybody. The way I see it, Green New Deal is the absolute bare minimum, okay? We should have been talking about a Green New Deal decades ago. Also, next up, we got Daniel Shea. Daniel Shea is the former president of Veterans for Peace. He is the Chapter 72 Portland, Oregon former Veterans for Peace National. He unfortunately served in the United States Marine Corps, MSO 331 machine gunner. Let's see. Marine combat veteran, 1968, Vietnam Don, continues to serve as one of the Veterans for Peace National Campaign committees, including Vietnam Agent Orange Relief and Responsibility Campaign, Vietnam Full Disclosure, and Save Our VA Healthcare from Privatization. Daniel Shea, everybody.
I'm honored to be here, and I sometimes feel like everything's already been said. You guys are the heroes. You came out here today, and it's been the movements in the streets that really move the politics in this country. I was a Vietnam veteran, but what stopped the Vietnam War were the Vietnamese, who held a real revolution against the occupiers. We were the occupiers in Vietnam. And it was the anti-war movement in the United States that brought us home. And we can't forget that. Now, was January 6th occupation of the Capitol, was that a revolution? No, that was not a revolution. That was a fascist coup. A racist, white, fascist coup. And their attempt was, if they won, what were they going to do? They were going to put us back in the days of slavery, back in the days of getting rid of your union rights, back in the days of no health care for people. So what happened was that we had people that fought to make sure that they won in Carolina and Georgia and various places in this country to put forward people to overthrow the Republican fascist movement in this country. That was done by people. It was Black Lives Matter, it was union activists, it was a number of people. I'm a veteran for peace. Veterans for Peace is an international organization now, and we are dealing with wars all across the world. I have seen revolutions. I saw the revolution in Vietnam. In 2006, I was down in Venezuela and saw the Bolivarian Revolution. And seeing how people from the indigenous groups and the black Venezuelans and others came together to defend their rights as human beings in a capitalist world that was trying to oppress them. It is the same capitalist world that is trying to oppress us. And we need to continue to fight that system that is out there. Now, one of the things I wanted to try and cover is that, we're living in unprecedented times. With the United States is currently facing a public health crisis, the magnitude of which no one living in right now has experienced in history. COVID-19 virus has already infected hundreds of thousands of lives, interrupted trade, stalled the economy, caused massive cuts and layoffs, forced families apart, isolated elders, causing a growing list of fatalities. One reason we weren't prepared for this is since 9/11, terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City, our representatives ignored our history that took us into the quagmire of wars and conflicts around the world and declared a war on terrorism. We went from Cold Wars, proxy wars in Central America, in the Middle East, to wars with nations we blamed for harboring terrorists, and we became invaders, occupiers, and committed all sorts of atrocities, from torture, assassinations, to outright murder of innocent women and children. Committed crimes against humanity. In dollars and lives, it was an obscene price to pay. We put the Pentagon before people, ignored the needs of our own. It is time to put people before the Pentagon. It is time to stop misdirecting hundreds of billions of dollars away from domestic and human needs to pad unnecessary budget, to end for endless wars, failed weapons, and Pentagon corporate handouts. Doing so will make our country stronger and more just. Military spending would be, if it was reduced by at least $200 billion annually, freeing up $2 trillion or more dollars in the next decade for domestic and human priorities. With those kinds of spending cuts, the Pentagon budget would remain more than enough to keep America safe, at levels well above the nation's post-World War II average. U.S. should never again go to war without congressional authorization. Should never go to war, period. If we adhere to the values of peace, diplomacy, and promoting international cooperation, we can prevent wars by addressing the underlying conflicts and meet the humanitarian imperatives through annual aid, mutual aid. Military spending should be reduced at least $200 billion annually, freeing up $2 trillion or more in the next decade for domestic and human needs, and put those needs on top of the priorities. With those kinds of spending cuts, the military budget will remain more than enough to keep this world safe. The military stresses on our environment. Our military activities affect the physical environment in the following direct ways: pollution of the air, the land, the water in peacetime. Immediate and long-term effects in armed conflicts. Nuclear weapons development and production causes land use issues. In addition to that, we must consider the issues of indirect effects via diversions of resources. At $1 billion a year per year, the budget for the Pentagon and related agencies is one of the highest levels since World War II, and more than the next 7 nations in the world combined, 5 of which are U.S. allies. Even more importantly, the U.S. needs to refrain from waging war, period. The U.S. post-9/11 wars have cost an astonishing $5.9 trillion, including long-term costs like taking care of veterans from these wars and paying the interest on the war debt. Well, I just kind of want to go to, you know this stuff. I mean, you see it around you. You see this is happening to your neighbors and your friends. The lack of spending for resources that we need in our communities to well pay for the things that we need in this country, for education, for Medicare for all. For education. For forgiving student debt. You know, there's one thing we can do. One thing I've already done is, you know, we want to reduce this military budget. So one of the things that's happening is it's time now for people we can call or email your congressional representatives urging them to join the new Defense Spending Reduction Caucus, co-chaired by Representative Mark Pocan and Representative Barbara Lee. We have a wasteful $750 billion military budget, and larger than the military budget, as I've already said, the next 8 countries combined, consumes over 60% of discretionary dollars and funds on endless wars. It's time now to join the caucus. Please contact Representative, tell them to please contact Representative Portland. And so now is the time to put people before the Pentagon. When do we want it? Now is the time for Medicare for all. When do we want it? Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. Let's give it up for Daniel Shane. Also, just for transparency, some of y'all might notice there are some police cars and firefighters on the scene. There is an accident that occurred on Fremont. There's some individuals who are inside of a car that rolled over. First responders are on the scene addressing the situation right now. But we are going to continue rolling here, and I'll keep y'all posted as we get more information about what's going on down there. Anyways, next up, we got Max Smith, who's a longtime journalist focused on Northwestern music and hip-hop culture for outlets such as The Oregonian, Portland Mercury, Vortex Magazine, and his own vehicle, We Out Here Magazine. He is a devoted husband and father. Mac is particularly proud of the fact that he is raising children who understand basketball analogies. When he isn't engaging in activism to defund the police, you can find him in his garden, the one, the only, Max Smith.
Intro, thank you. All right. How you guys doing today? It's kind of like a protest, it's kind of like a rally, there's cops, but they're not following us. It's kind of weird for me. I'm not gonna lie. Usually when I see those lights, I'm like, where's the gas, right? There's no gas yet. I guess the gas came earlier, so I think they're on their ration for the day. I'm not really here to try to hype anybody up. I know it's like election day and all that, or inauguration day and all that, and people are really hyped about stuff. I'm not really super hyped about anything. We're kind of in a situation that we were before, like 5 years ago, or more like 12 years ago, where we said yes. We started to get black people in office. We got Michelle Obama. She's cool, you know. It's dope. But like, we can't get complacent, because if we do, then we know we have a Trump at the end of this. Yeah. So it's really, really important that people don't get complacent, not just on a national scale, but like, we have pretty much a tyrant in chief here. I mean, we have Tevis Wheeler here. He is everybody's favorite mayor, right? You guys all love Ted Wheeler, right? You guys come out here like, yes, Ted Wheeler. You have the Ted Wheeler calendar? You have the calendar? No calendar? Okay.
Yes, Ted.
So we have a mayor who won the ability to be mayor by loaning himself money and working with these corporations to just offset our vote so he could win by less than half the vote in a two-way race. We got a mayor who got less than half the vote in a two-way race. This mayor has no power. This mayor has not really been given any kind of majority, you know what I mean? He hasn't been given a majority consensus to rule this city. And to be quite honest with you, even the people who've already voted for him, they voted for him hesitantly. He's really got elected in the same way that Trump got voted in. That people were afraid of progress and ran the other way. And a lot of people just stayed home. Right? I mean, a lot of us said, hey, I'm going to vote for Sarah Teresa, that's fine. But to go and vote for Ted, I know those people are kicking themselves now. The same people that can't open their businesses still. The same people that even if there's no protest, these businesses are not opening up. Because it's COVID. It's not us. Right? But they play these games. Ted especially plays these games in the media. He tries to play with us. He tries to trick us. He's out there blasting Koska for pointing at him. He said he got punched. Then he said he got swatted. Swatted. Then he took a picture and showed a finger like this in his face like Bernie Sanders. And then he said, I'm not going to press charges. And then he goes on TV and says, I think that people who get arrested 6 or 7 times should be brought up on higher charges. So you want to charge people stronger because they've been arrested and found not guilty? Because she swatted you? But you don't want to actually go ahead and press charges yourself because you don't want to go to court and look stupid. You want the cops to do your job for you, which is what Ted Wheeler always does. So focus on Ted Wheeler when we're here these next 4 years. My goal is that Ted Wheeler's not going to make it out of this year in Portland as the mayor. That's my goal. I realized that if I want to defund the police, I got to get rid of Ted, bro. Ted's not with the shit. Ted's not with the program at all. Ted's got his own plans. Ted's like, so if we can get some private partners to come together with some public support, then maybe we can get some more money from my developer friends. That's what Ted's doing. Every day. That's what Ted's doing. Don't take your eye off the ball. Every day, that's what Ted's working on. That and getting more money for the cops. Our job, offset that. Every step of the way. Everything he does. Pump Ted. I'm putting together a team. We're going to track Ted's actions every single day, and we're going to report on all the dumb shit he does. This is a tedious effort. I did it by myself one a week, and quite honestly, I wanted to throw up in my mouth like every 12 minutes. It's a horrible experience following Ted Wheeler and seeing the nonsense. Did you guys see him on a pandemic date? Did you guys see that? Ted Wheeler was out on dates in the pandemic, and some protesters found him and were like, "Fuck you, Ted." And he was like, "No, they attacked me in my date." What are you doing, bro? It's a pandemic. You're supposed to be the mayor. You're closing people's businesses and they're mad at us. Ted Wheeler takes no blame for anything. And the same thing he does to us, he does to the people that voted for him. He does it for the right too. He does it to the right too. He tells them, "I'm going to be tough on these protesters." And then he apologizes the next day. But then he tells us he apologizes the next day and he goes out and says, "I'm going to go get the protesters." So we're like, what the heck? So we're always just all confused. Ted Wheeler's not that smart, you guys. He just doesn't do anything. And that's the trick. Is we have to stop giving him attention where he wants us to give him attention. And we have to start giving him attention where he doesn't want to be in the news. The more we work on that, and he talks too much. Ted Wheeler talks too much. He says stuff without thinking it through. So all you have to do is get him riled up, and he'll just do more dumb shit. That makes my job a lot easier. So hopefully we can all work together. Hopefully we can all stay focused. We can understand that our battle is here. We still want to defund the police. That hasn't changed. We still want to free the prisoners in ICE. That hasn't changed. We still want to give it to Ted Wheeler. That hasn't changed. We still want the people who have been charged with crimes in the protest to be let free and have their crimes dropped. That hasn't changed. We've been asking for the same thing since June of last year. The same things. And they've not given us any of the things that we've asked for. All they've given us is a bunch of new committees. If you want to join those committees, go ahead and join those committees. Somebody has to, but it's not going to be me. Once again, thank you very much. Shout out to Joe Biden winning the election or whatever. Yeah, big ups.
Once again, thank you all. Let's give it up for Max Smith. I'd like to say thank you all so much for coming out. I appreciate everyone sticking it out here. We are going to be marching a little bit soon. I know it's cold, but thank you all for rocking with us. We got a few more speakers. We're going to keep right on rolling. Next up, we got James Ortega, who is the chapter head of the Oregon Brown Berets. Give it up for James Ortega.
All right, good evening, everyone. So the chapter head, the captain, and then and just so you know, there's different types of Brown Berets. There's the national organization, which I represent, which has its foundations back in the original movimiento from the 60s and 70s. So that's who I represent, and then my carnala over here. Okay. And so, all right, so, immigrant rights, it's obviously being a Chicano. This isn't MEPA, so I don't say Latinx, Chicanx. This is near and dear to us because this is the struggle that we have had since the colonizers came over from the East. And really, it's no different than the struggles of all of our indigenous brothers and sisters from Alaska to Chile, from Australia to the Pacific Islands. While our situations are culturally different, the same struggle has been the exact same one. They come, and this is for you white folks. Your ancestors come into our land, pretend to be our friends, to get the land, to get the resources, and they use the Bible. They use our own indigenous traditions against us in order to gain our trust. And I know that you guys aren't responsible for it. Nobody here, obviously. But that is the legacy that you have. And so when it comes to being immigrants, we're not even really immigrants. My ancestors have been on this continent for 10,000 years. All of us have been on this continent for 10,000 years. From the north to the south, we have been here for 10,000 years. We are not the immigrants. But we have been told that we are the immigrants. And so now, and our brothers and sisters coming up from the south, they're refugees. They are the refugees of Contra wars. They are refugees of what the capitalists would call the thing that lies outside of their, they make financial decisions, and the stuff that lies outside of the financial decision, I can't remember the name they have for it, but the real word they should call it is the social cost. Our brothers and sisters coming up from the south are the social cost. They are the social cost of greedy capitalists who come into our countries, who hurt our brothers and sisters so they can get cheap avocados and bananas. And so they come up here because they hear that this land is a land of milk and honey. They come up here because they hear that we have democracy, because we fought so hard. This government fought so hard to bring them democracy. So obviously the bringers of democracy should have the most democracy. But instead, they get met with racist border patrol, and they are thrown in cages. Mothers, fathers, children who travel thousands of miles through unimaginable heat, bearing the greatest cost of trying to survive to continue our people, and they are met with cages. Now you have to understand, I don't want to get really into all of the facts, because if you want to look up facts, we have the internet. In the age of information, there is not a number, not a statistic you cannot find. So I'm gonna break up this last part here. I'm gonna talk to my white brothers and sisters who are here tonight. And thank you. I know that sometimes it's hard to hear some of these truths because it's not a lot of things that you are used to hearing. But if we're talking about true unity between white people, between black people, between brown people, then we have to stop coming from a place of false assumptions. When we talk about immigrant rights, we're talking about dismantling white supremacy. Because it's not about us being the immigrants, it is about you being the inheritors, being the beneficiaries of 500 years of settler colonialism. And then we get treated like this is not our land. And so I want you to think about that. Every banana you eat, every cup of coffee you drink, every avocado toast you have for breakfast, there is some brown woman, there's some brown man, there's somebody who is picking those for you, you might have paid $5 for 3 of them at Fred Meyer, but somebody paid their life for your avocados. All right. And then one more thing before I hand it over to my sister over here. And this is from my black and brown brothers and sisters who are here tonight. When I say brown, I'm talking about my red brothers and sisters too, because red is just made up. We're all brown. It's nation time. In the words of Imamu Imidi Baraka, it is nation time. We're not outnumbered, we're out-organized. So when we leave here tonight, we need to start thinking about what it means to really be a nation. not as Mexican Americans, not as African Americans, but as a black nation, as a Chicano nation, as an indigenous nation, that is what we are. We need to think about those things because we cannot have unity unless we have something to unify with. We cannot continue to give our votes, our energy, we cannot continue to give our time to movements who do not recognize even the semblance of our humanity. Joe Biden was the cause. He is the one who was one of the main architects of NAFTA, which caused our brothers south of the border to have to search here. He bankrupted our family farms. He was the main progenitor of the war on drugs, which not only hurt our black and brown brothers and sisters up here, but he also hurt our brothers and sisters down south. So it's nation time, brothers and sisters. All right, I'm going to introduce, this is Carla Ye Malinali, and she is the head of the Oregon, because technically this isn't really Oregon Brown Beret Cadre Revolutionary Organization. Give it up for Ye Malinali.
Hola todos, ¿cómo están? We're going to march right now, and we're here because we want aid, we want our rights, we want to defend democracy. That's what we want to do, and that's what we're going to march, and that's what we're going to do every day. Every day, even though we're not marching, we have to carry this ideology in our hearts. We must defend democracy. We must defend each other. Our community will protect us. No one else will. We must stand for what we believe in. Everyone in unity, it's really essential. I want to thank everybody for being here. Again, my name is Ye Malinali, and we're going to march. Gracias.
Stick around right here. A moment.
Y'all, let's give it up for James Ortega and the Brown Beret. Right on. Thank y'all so much for kicking it with us. We have just a few more speakers, and then we're going to begin our march. Because of the accident that occurred on Fremont, we're just going to march around the perimeter of the park on the main street. So it'll be nice and short and sweet. Right on. Thank you again so much, y'all. Next up, we have the Labor Contingent, which is a dynamic group of union activists representing not only union members, but also their communities. They are on the front lines as their jobs and communities and are passionate about what they do, which is taking care of others. First up, we have Deborah Hall, who began organizing and rallying schoolmates around the issues of the day in the 1960s. She retired from Portland Community College after 22 years, where she served as president of the Classified Employee Union, AFT-PCCFCE Local 3922, a member of the National AFT Paraprofessional and School-Related Personnel Program and Policy Council, and 2 terms as vice president of AFT Oregon. She was also an executive committee member of Portland Jobs with Justice and founding member of the Oregon chapter of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. Give it up for Deborah Hall.
So you guys, we need to get louder than that. That's just what we do. Come on, let's go. Crank this shit up. Come on! We got a hard year. We got a hard-fought election. And our people are going to sit in the White House tomorrow. Come on! Give it up! All right. So I've been given the distinct pleasure of introducing a dynamic set of labor leaders today from the Portland area and from the state. I'm going to bring them up. We're going to come up as a group, and each one is going to stand before you and talk a little bit about why they do what they do and who they do that for. So I'm going to ask my labor contingent folks to come on up. All right. Our first person that's going to be speaking to us tonight is Juanita Patel. Juanita is a member of the mighty SEIU 49. She's also a member of the Contract Action Team. and worked at the Mayo Hospital. Which my name is the Shores of Law! Shores of Law!
Hi, my name is Sunita Patel, and I represent SCUIU, the Local 49. And we are right now bargaining with Legacy. I work for Legacy Manual Hospital, and we're bargaining racial justice, economy justice, healthcare justice. I worked for housekeeping for 17 years, and all of a sudden, Legacy decides to take half an hour away from our pay. So we were working 8 hours, now we're ended up working 7.5 hours. We are fighting for our half an hour, which they are not going to give us our half an hour back. We're losing $5,000 from our pay. It's a big toll on our family. And we'd like your guys' support when we go on our picket. Thank you.
If you scroll the Halospace page, there's Nurses Association posts, and they have a page where you see them protesting specifically against Legacy because they're in a fight right now.
I present you, Alicia Chavez Downey. Alicia goes by she, her, and the pronouns. She currently serves as the Portland Association of Teachers Secretary and Chair of the Social Justice and Community Outreach Committee, as well as a member of the Oregon Public Employees United. When she is not doing that, she is taking care of our babies in her role as a K-2 special education educator. Alicia!
Thanks all. Can you all hear me? So every morning when I start my day, I think of this quote by a fellow educator and activist, Dr. Bettina Lowe. Education can't save us, we must save education. I want to start off with a few celebrations today. After the years of work by Black leaders in Portland, police are finally out of schools and BPS. But there is still work to do as we have to get them out nationwide. Wilson High School was just renamed. Not only did students and teachers and community members at Wilson High School lobby and win the removal of Woodrow Wilson's name, a white supremacist, but it's now going to be named after Ida B. Wells Barnett, a journalist, an anti-lynching crusader, and one of the founders of the NAACP. Another big win for our children and our families is preschool for all. These are all hard-fought wins and should be celebrated, but we have so much work to be done. The people who are making decisions for us and our students have never been in a classroom. They do not know what we do. Educators have become therapists, tech support, food delivery service, supply drop-off, social justice advocates, and many other roles, and it's exhausting. Among the many things this pandemic has shown us, it has revealed the devastating inequities that exist in our society, especially for our Black and brown students and families. How is it right that children need schools to be fed, to be protected from child abuse, to be provided child care, to be provided health care and mental health supports? What does that tell us? Schools should not be the place where all of the holes and the gaps and the missing pieces of our society are filled. All people deserve a living wage. A single parent should be able to provide for their family. All people deserve health care that includes mental health services. All people deserve affordable housing and the ability to buy a house. The fact that these are not just givens and not attainable within our current system is a problem no school or educator can fix, let alone an underfunded public school system. We as a community must save education, and our work is not done. And we know this leadership won't do it, so we have to do it. Thank you.
I have another educator, Elizabeth Teal. Elizabeth has been an English and social studies teacher in Portland since 2003 and is currently serving as the president of the Portland Association of Teachers. You guys give Elizabeth a warm welcome. Show her some love. Thank you.
All right. This is my first saran-wrapped microphone. Yes. So one thing that unions do is fight for a just economy. And the reason we have to fight for a just economy is the economy is not just. It's one of the biggest ways that we uphold white supremacy in our country. We are currently in an economic crisis in this country. Over the last 10 months, millions of people have lost their jobs. They've lost their ability to take care of their families, pay their rent, get food, pay for their health care. And millions more have been forced to work in unsafe conditions because they have no choice in order to meet those needs. The impacts are all around us and they're devastating. And across the country, cities and states are bracing for deep, drastic cuts to budgets because of that economic crisis. And that's going to mean cuts to the services that we need now more than ever. And it's going to mean layoffs to the workers that provide those services. The crisis we're in now is only going to get worse if we keep going down this road. But what we need to make clear is this is not a crisis of a lack of wealth. We have the wealth. Here's some things that you might not know, and you probably do. Did you guys know right now the stock market is booming? Yeah. Did you guys know that corporations are making record profit this pandemic? I read a couple months ago that Nike here in the metro region was laying off 700 workers. And a week later, I read a newspaper article that they made $11 billion worth of profit the same quarter. It's true. In the New York Times a couple weeks ago, I read that the overall wages paid in the United States in 2020 was more than in 2019. That can't be right. In an economic crisis, there was more money being paid in wages than the year before, just going to fewer people. We are not in a crisis of a lack of wealth. We are in a crisis of inequity. We are in a moral crisis. We need a new economy. We need a new economy that values people, not profits. We need a society where we value one another, where we do not accept poverty. It is not an inevitable human condition, where we react to racism and hate, and we take seriously the survival of our. We have a lot of work to do, and it is really lovely to be here in communion with all of you guys today, fighting for those same things. And as unions, that's what we're fighting for.
Thank you, Elizabeth. All right. And I'm going to bring up now, so I'm just going to have use a little speaker license here, an introduction license. So to me, Travis Nelson, our next speaker, is like the Barack Obama of Oregon, right? I mean, this man here, what is he not involved in that's helping, progressive movements, that's helping healthcare in Oregon? Travis has served as Oregon representative of the Democratic National Committee. He was the 2020 Oregon delegation co-chair at the Democratic National Convention and board member at Nurses for Single Payer. Past activities we involved the American Nurses Association and the Democratic Party of Oregon Black Caucus. Then I also say that our Oregon senators were gracious enough to step aside this year, and Travis Nelson and Rosa Copeland got to be our co-chairs to the Oregon Democratic Party. I'd like to bring Travis up, and please give him a warm welcome.
I'll take this off since I got a saran-wrapped microphone. Oh, I like that. That's loud. Hello, citizens, comrades, brothers, sisters, and non-gender conforming individuals. My name is Travis Nelson, and like Deborah said, I'm a registered nurse. I'm a member of the LGBTQ plus community, and a board member of Nurses for Single Payer. I'm also an Oregon Nurses Association member, which is the largest union of nurses in the state of Oregon, and I'm an officer of the Democratic Party. And in addition to that, I'm also a DSA member, Portland chapter. So wow, I don't know about you, but it's a little cold, about minus 45, I'd say. Did we ever think we would get here? Trump Dawn Day 2021. So, Donald Trump is term president, everybody, and his reign has finally come to an end thanks to all of you in the Progressive Coalition. But look, just because Trump is no longer president doesn't mean that our work is ending. I actually think that we will have even more work to do, and we'll have to work harder now that Trump is gone. But I don't want to start off negative. Joe Biden has stated he's going to do some good things that actually make me really happy. He stated that he's going to cancel Trump's nasty executive orders. He already did some today, I believe. And he's going to make immigration reform that includes a path to citizenship a priority. He stated that he's going to work to expand voting rights and access to the ballot to counter nasty voter suppression. He stated that the United States will rejoin the Paris Climate Accords. I believe he did that not that long ago, actually, and be more aggressive on climate change than Trump, which isn't saying much, right? Biden's already proposed a nearly $2 trillion COVID rescue package that will help small businesses, state and local governments, and will put $1,400 in the pockets of Americans who need it most. And because of the hard work of many of you did in writing postcards and phone banking to Georgia, Biden should have a Senate that will be able to get a lot done. And let's not forget that because of that work in Georgia, and because Democrats will have the majority, Senator Bernie Sanders is now in partial control of the national purse strings because he is now Senate Budget Committee chair. Now, getting back to the working harder part. Joe Biden has stated that he wants to expand the Affordable Care Act. Well, guess what? That ain't gonna cut it, folks. We need Medicare for all, and we need it now. Should ever go without care because they can't afford to pay. And so we're going to have to push Joe Biden to show that he really believes in things such as Black Lives Matter. And I'm not talking about empty promises and rhetoric. I'm talking about actual policy change. We need to see changes to policy and laws if we are going to dismantle systemic racism and housing, law enforcement, healthcare, education, and so many other areas. And we need a Green New Deal too. It's a no-brainer, folks. Fossil fuels are literally killing us. We know that a Green New Deal will create millions of jobs and wean us off of our addiction to petroleum. We also need the PRO Act passed. For those of you who don't know, the PRO Act passed the House last year, and it's pro-union legislation and includes Janus mitigation, and it will make it easier to form and maintain a union. I'm a big believer that if we are ever going to impact income inequality long term, we must stop the destruction of unions in the United States of America. And as a nurse, I see up close the impact of COVID-19. $1,400 in stimulus is a start, but the American people need more. We also need faster, expedited COVID-19 testing and faster distribution of COVID vaccine. Folks, 400,000 of our fellow Americans have died from this horrible disease today. We have the weapons to combat it. We just have to continue to apply the pressure needed to ensure that we act swiftly to save lives. But I want to take a moment to circle back to immigration for a moment. For the last 4 years, we have witnessed the Trump administration tear apart immigrant families coming to the United States. They're just looking for opportunity. We've also seen that same administration throw kids in cages. We've seen the administration also sanction forced sterilization of black and brown immigrant women, and they did all of this without shame. All the while, Trump never lost support of the majority of Caucasians in this country. Did you guys know that? Throughout his presidency, the majority, his approval rating now, don't get me wrong, was oftentimes in the high 30s and the 40% percentile range. But when you break it down by race, people of color vehemently disapproved, while the majority of white people in this country consistently, for the last 4 years, approved of Donald Trump. There is so much that America is capable of, folks. But we have got to have open and honest conversations about race. People of color need our Caucasian brothers and sisters to have open conversations about race, because racism is our country's original sin and our country's greatest weakness. It's how 45 became president in the first place. And I got news for you. Racism isn't going to be solved by people of color. It's going to take Caucasian people to end racism in America. We need you to ask questions. For instance, ask your employer, if 1 out of 4 people in Portland are people of color, why doesn't our workplace reflect that? Ask your favorite business why the people who are servers are white, while the people in the kitchen are people of color. Or ask that business with the Black Lives Matter sign in the window why no one black works there. Black employment matters too, folks. So I know I'm preaching to the choir to a degree. But now is the time for the choir to sing louder than ever. We've proven that we can bring about tremendous change when we all come together and fight for the good of the people. They say you take 1 step backward for every 2 steps forward. Well, I hope that we just finished taking a giant step backward over these last 4 years. And I hope, and hell, I even pray, that all of us are ready to do the work that it takes to take 2 giant steps forward. Thank you. Union strong, Black Lives Matter!
Travis and Amy Flavor. Next up, we're marching, y'all. We're marching. And so I would like the drum line. Give me a nice little soft cadence. We're going to get folks thinking in the realm of our organizers here are going to get folks ready. And we have a song that we sing in Union Line. It belongs to us. Solidarity Forever. So I'm just going to go through that as y'all are getting set up. Union people, we're going to sing that chorus. We're not going to go through the word, we're going to sing the chorus. There's a tempo. 2. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes Our work has just started. Get your hoodies and get your spinners. We're just waking up and we're just getting to work. Let's go. Thank you.
All right, y'all, about to get this march popping. My friend Alicia is going to be leading the march, or leading the walk over to the march. If y'all want to follow her, she's got a megaphone. We're going to be walking down the basketball court, and then right toward Fremont, there's going to be a truck that's going to lead the march around the block. Thank y'all so much for sticking it out. I know it's cold. I know it's been long. But hey, the fight to justice can be long and cold too. Thank y'all for staying strong and sticking with us. We'll be walking down right this way. Much love. My name is Ray. Ray for Revolution at Venmo. Much love, y'all. Peace. I mean, we're still marching, but yeah, peace.
Sorry, buddy, I almost walked into a tree there. Enable text-to-speech comments. Be respectful.
president, give the land back to its original residents.
Just because
No
Joe
good
Biden doesn't
president,
mean your
give the
job is
land back
done.
to its
Black
original.
Lives Matter.
No good cops, no good president, give the land back to its original residents. Give the land back to its original residents. No good cops, no good president, give the land back to its original residents.
So you know we gotta go with the black people used to live here, liar, liar, gentrifier. Black people used to live here, liar, liar, gentrifier. Black people used to live here, liar, liar, gentrifier. Black people used to live here, liar, liar, gentrifier. Black people used to live here. Black people used to live here, liar, liar, gentrifier. Y'all not loud enough for me. I cannot always ever hear people talk. I be always hearing people, and nobody's talking. So I can yell. Black people used to live here.
Well, when you walk backwards long enough, you get disoriented. We're back. My glasses are getting on fire now too. It's like an extra challenge. Doing it hard mode. Brought my lights.
You're all aware that there was an accident tonight. There was a car crash, and so we actually got the family's CashApp. So we're gonna say it now. So if we can get the cameras out, so we can get some money towards that family.
Even if you can't send money, share the CashApp.
Share it.
Take it down anyway.
Because it was a black family and they had kids. So please, if you can send anything or if you can get the word out, please, please, please do so.
Use your platform. Use your platform.
Can y'all hear me?
Let's be moving for a second.
Yeah.
Let's move closer.
Move in closer. Everybody, hold your phones up if you're able to. If you're willing and you're able.
If you're willing and able, hold your phones up.
Is this even on?
It's on. You just gotta come near.
Twitch, Solovino 210,012 says.
All right, everybody, phones. I see some people taking directions. Okay, there we go. We got phones up.
Put your phones up. You got phones, put your phones up.
Hey, woman in the air. Like you just don't care. Hey.
Okay. Was that my flash on?
It doesn't matter.
We'll just record this shit.
Jack says.
Yeah.
Cash App for the family of accident
So
on
we're about to give y'all the
Fremont.
information from the
We're getting the Cash App information. So again, remember, we are the community and we take care of us.
I thought you had it.
Oh my God.
Okay, so we gonna give you the Cash App in a bit.
Be all lives matter.
Girl, I don't know what it is.
Sympathy for them.
All right, so you guys were prepared, you were ready. We'll reconvene in just a minute.
So sorry.
That's okay. Let's keep marching.
Yeah, let's keep moving.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, we're just gonna.
I think it's not the whole march and
The
nobody has
people united will never be defeated. The people united will never be defeated.
Never be divided. United will never be divided.
People united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united
Will never be
the people united.
will never be divided.
The people united
Will never be divided.
the people united.
Will never be divided. Will never be divided. The people united will never be divided. The people united will never be divided.
Back up, we want freedom, freedom. All these racist ass punks, we don't need them, need them. Back up, we don't need them, need them. All these racist ass punks, we don't all these racist ass punks, we don't need them, need them. Hey.
Freedom, freedom, all these racist ass punks. We don't need them, need them. Back up, back up. We want freedom, freedom, all these racist ass punks. We don't need them, need them.
Back up. Oh, come on now, y'all. What the hell?
Back up, we don't need them, need them. Back up, back up. We want freedom, freedom, all these racist ass punks. We don't need them, need them.
I don't see too many people coming out their houses, so we gotta wake these motherfuckers up. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up!
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, motherfucker, wake up! Wake up!
These Round of applause for y'all. Round of applause. Slow down the truck though. Don't keep the speaker in.
Not too close.
Oh shit.
Can we get air?
Are y'all having a good time?
Oh, yeah.
Are y'all having a good time? It's a great ass day to be a motherfucking radical rebel. Hey! Alright, this next chant goes like this. I'm gonna say, y'all basically just gonna repeat after me. It's gonna go like this. Don't arrest me, arrest the police.
Don't arrest me, arrest the police.
I said, don't arrest me, arrest the police.
Don't arrest me, arrest the police.
Convict the police.
Convict the police.
Indict the police.
Indict the police.
Defund the police.
Defund the police.
Abolish the police.
Abolish the police.
Don't arrest me, arrest the police.
Don't arrest me, arrest the police. Don't arrest me, arrest the police.
Did that accident happen like while we were talking? Yeah.
Motherfucking night.
the power? Who's that say down? 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 Say who got the power? 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 Who's that say down? Who's that say down? Oink oink oink, oink oink oink, oink oink oink. PPP goes oink oink oink, all through Portland. PPP goes oink oink oink, oink oink oink, oink oink oink. PPP goes oink oink oink, all through Portland. PPP goes oink oink oink. PPP goes oink oink oink. I said PPP goes oink oink oink. PPP goes oink oink oink, all through colonizer, Indigenous people, you still live here. Fire, fire, colonizer. Indigenous people, you still live here. Indigenous people, you still live here. Fire, fire, colonizer. Indigenous people, you still live here. Fire, fire, colonizer. Indigenous people, you still live here. Fire, fire, colonizer. What's outrageous? Are we tired? I said, are we tired? Interesting. Can y'all give me a beat, I'm going to go around because y'all can be feeling the group. Because part of our community, or part of our culture, is drinking and feeling each other, yeah? It's good to have a good time because it's a celebratory day, yeah? Hey! Feel the beat! 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 Hey! Come on now! Hey! Come on now! Hey! Come on now!
That's a good fucking thing. Okay, before we continue, really quickly, I am going to say that CashApp, so if everybody can get their phones out, please. No, I actually got it.
Of course, wait when I'm trying to plug in my battery.
Y'all got your phones out? Put them up when you're ready.
We'll go get that in a second. Get this USB.
Okay, so
Sorry,
the
buddy.
CashApp is LALA, so the $sign LALA PDX. So let me repeat that. This is $sign LALA LALA PDX. Y'all got that? LALA, so $sign LALA LALA PDX. Y'all got that? So please, what? CashApp. Oh, this is, okay, so for people who don't know, earlier tonight there was a really bad accident. Two families were hurt, both of them had kids. One was an African-American family, the other was a white family. But I think we really should send some love to the black family because Papa was had they had a baby, they had other kids in the car. A 3-month-old, so can you please just share some love? And I know you can't donate yourself. There's people in this world who goddamn can, yeah? So what you gonna do? You gonna tell 3 friends. What are you gonna do?
Tell 3
friends. What are you gonna do?
Tell 3 friends.
What are you gonna do?
Tell 3 friends.
Okay, and just to make sure the count out one more time is $sign LALA LALA PDX. Yeah? Are we good to continue?
LALA
Y'all not
PDX.
tired, right? Because we don't get tired over here. We get motivated, right? We get motivated, right? Over 200 fucking days. These are warrior chants that we are screaming. When I say all power to the fucking people, that means that all the power in the hands of the government to the people now. That's what that shit means. All power to the fucking people. Alright? We march and we chant loud. It's cold, but you gotta jump around. I'm sweating. It's hot as fuck.
If you're dancing, you wouldn't be cold.
Period. We are out. We've been out here for over 200 fucking days, bro. We have proved that we are resilient. We have proved that we are powerful. We have proved that we can do this until we get what we want, until we get justice, until the government hands over the keys to the fucking country to the people. We're gonna keep fighting until the land is returned to the natives. We're gonna keep fighting until the kids are out of cages. We're gonna keep fighting until black people are liberated under the hands of white supremacy. We keep fucking fighting. This shit don't stop. This shit is not stop. I want y'all to understand, bro. This shit is not stop. This is every fucking day. This is not just 40 hours a week for me. It's not just a regular job. I'm black every fucking day. Being black and walking around the street is fucking activism, and can't nobody tell me different. Right? We walk out every fucking day, scared of the fucking police. The revolution will not be fucking televised. We must change the minds of all the people that are oppressing the oppressed. And that goes for the people that are oppressing people of different groups. Not just white people, people oppressing the LGBTQ community. People that are oppressing people that come from other countries. People that are disabled. We uplift everybody here. Everybody is valid here. Everybody. We support everybody. Abolish the fucking police, abolish those fucking prisons, and abolish the fucking government. Yeah. Make some noise if you agree with me! All right, are we ready to keep on marching? So can we get back to the energy we have? So, drumline, please.
Okay. I'm actually going to take the vest off, but it's like if I get shot. Are you,
Sorry. My Google doesn't like the charging cable.
Give a beat, hey! Give a beat! Give a beat! Give a beat! Hey!
Last time I was dancing, they was snapping my fucking side.
Oh!
I got a bunch of batteries. And I'm calling that like tech block now.
Alright, now I gotta get to the chords with me.
Huh?
I gotta get to the chords with me.
If you'd like some of the batteries to get out, you can grab them. Yeah, my backpack. There's some in little like drawstring pouches. Most of them are. Since this wasn't hard enough already, now we gotta. No big deal, just walking backwards and streaming and texting and all of it. Walked in any trees yet today? I have.
Yeah, we can keep going a little bit more. Yeah. Or do we want to keep going? Keep going. What? Fuck this. Let's make some ruckus. Let's start tuning. Ooh, fuck. We are the revolution. We are the revolution. We are the revolution. We are
gotta really jump around. Represent Black joy. This is what we do.
Yeah.
This is Black culture.
Yeah.
You feel me? What do we want?
Justice.
That was a lousy ass justice.
Living water.
I said, what do we want? Justice! And when do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! And when do we want it? Now! I said, what do we want? Justice! And when do we want it? Now! Say now! 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 Say now! 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 I said, what do we want? When do we want it? And what do we want? And when do we want it? And when do we want it? And when do we want it? Say now! 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 Good job, y'all. Good job, y'all. Woo! Y'all, welcome to the free performance. You're welcome. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, so what we're gonna do right now.
Hey, they were very supportive.
Oh, they were dancing. I love to see it.
Yes,
Some of y'all got some moves, especially you. I see you. You're really pretty, by the way.
Yes, period. I want to shout her out. Yes.
Good.
Shout to you.
Girl,
She
see?
said that she was going to come march with us and she didn't have to see me. I felt that. Yeah.
Honestly, free concert. That's what I say.
Last free concert. This is hard work. I mean, like
Good
Beyonce,
pay
baby.
revelation.
I need water. Shit. I need all the water. No cap, I need water.
Join us! Join us! Out of your house and into the street! Out of your house and into the street! Out of your house and into the street!
Out of your house and into the street.
Out of your
Sorry, I'm done multitasking.
Make some noise for yourself. Make some noise. Make some noise. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check.
Also, can we give a huge round of applause to the drum line, please?
Yeah, drum line. I'm gonna put y'all next point.
They're carrying some big ass motherfucking drums. That's what it's heavy. So thank you, drum line. Can we all say that on the 3? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, drum line.
Hey, thank you, y'all. I appreciate y'all. And the organizers. All right. Thank y'all so much for coming out this evening. I know this march was long. I know it was hard, but I think it's a beautiful metaphor for movement. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's hard, but we stick it out. Thank y'all for sticking it out. We're in this fight for long haul, and I appreciate you keeping it real. Absolutely. So I have 2 friends and comrades who are going to say a few really quick words, and then we're going to bounce and get out of here. Thank y'all so much once again. I want to introduce my friend and comrade, Ariana.
Anyway, my name is Ariana, and I just want to say that this is the first time I've worn my natural hair out in 5 years. Because I used to get called a lion for wearing my natural hair out. And I am a lion, because I'm a fucking beast, and look can't handle me, and I'll eat all they asses. Period! I won't eat all they asses, but y'all get the point. Yeah. I just want to say that it feels so good to be out here on Inauguration Day. I woke up feeling black as hell because I knew that a black woman just like me was going to get sworn into the office, and that just made me feel so empowered. And to be out here and have the drum line and have y'all have some rhythm for just have rhythm. There you go. It feels so good. So thank you. Thank you for being out here. Thank you for letting me have my black joy. Thank you for letting me show you my black joy. This is literally, I really do this shit every single day in my house, in my room by myself. I don't show nobody. So thank you for letting me show you my black joy.
Okay, I just have one small thing to say. Just because Biden is in office doesn't mean our work is here because Trump's not in office. Right. I just want you to done. We still have to hold him accountable to be here for the black community, so don't forget that. That's all I had to say.
And then to close us out, we have one really quick speaker. We've got Lisa Martinez, proud immigrant union organizer and GSA member. Thank you for closing us out.
Y'all give her some love. Give her some love. Give her some love. Give her some love.
Thank you. I'm strong. I'm just cold as fuck. I cannot get on this. Sorry. So my name is Lisa Martinez. I'm speaking on behalf of Portland.
Mic check!
Mic
check!
Mic check!
Mic check!
Mic check!
By all the speakers, thank you.
So I'm speaking on behalf of Portland DSA. Oh, sing that. Yeah, there you go. There, here? Yep, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, okay, cool. So I want to talk about the connection between what happened at the Capitol building and what millions across the world have been experiencing for generations, right? Right. And I think it's important because a lot of people missed that fucking memo, right? The connection was not made between most people, but not even lots of folks on the left, right? Take for instance, the quintessential liberal rally cry, we're better than this, right? We kept saying this shit for 4 years now, we're better than this. It's cringeworthy, it's a liberal response to Trump's kind of crudeness. As a formerly undocumented Latin American immigrant, I think it's extraordinary when people say that shit, right? We're better than this. Yes, we are. You ask somebody from Iraq, there's 1.2 million people dead, right? Yemen, 233,000 dead. Syria, over people from Afghanistan. Venezuela, 40,000 people dead because of U.S.-backed sanctions. So are we really better than this? A couple things. This is not an exhaustive list.
right? That started from the 1950s. These are all U.S.-backed countries with U.S.-backed. 1952, Egypt. 1954, Guatemala. 1957, Indonesia. 1958, Laos. 1958, Cuba. Not Cuba. They won that one.
Right.
1960, Congo, where we saw the death of freedom fighter Patrice Lumumba. 1965, the Dominican Republic. 1980, El Salvador. 1981, Chad. 1989, Panama. 1991 and 2004, Haiti, because we hated Aristide, right? There's two democracy.
Right. Say that.
2002, Venezuela, failed coup. Venezuela's won that one. 2009, Libya. 1964 and again in 2019, Bolivia, where we saw U.S.-backed coup. 1973, on Chilean, there was a U.S.-backed coup against the socialist president. Chileans dead, and it's estimated because they still haven't found the bodies. Total victims, including torture, sexual torture, rape, estimated to be over 40,000 people in Chile.
Can we move forward, y'all? Just a little bit. Can we close out these first? Yeah. Sure. Let's not.
If you guys move to this side,
So look, I'm gonna wrap it up.
I'm right here. Yeah, no, you can face this. Just face this way and have everybody move on this side.
If y'all could just move a little bit that way so y'all can continue to hear the speaker. We just trying to get out the street so they can have one right here.
So anyway, I'm saying all this shit because, not because I'm trying to get charity, right, for all these countries that have been victimized by U.S. military aggression, right? This ain't UNICEF. I'm saying it to make the connection between imperialism abroad and the alt-right inside of this country. It's called bringing the war home. Kathleen Ballou writes about this, but Brother Malcolm said it ages ago. It was the chickens coming home to roost. That's what happened at the Capitol. It's a natural result of a country of violence and hate. We can't let anti-Trumpism, like somebody said before, lull us into complacency now that he's gone, because he's not the only one. U.S. ruling class needs to generate enemies, or the fiction of enemies. They tell you to hate Venezuela. What we need is to resist, and not just Daddy Trump, but U.S. hegemony, because fascism isn't just a person, it's a set of attitudes and behaviors. What we need is whoever is in power, of a thorough denazification of Congress and and the White House, and an end to all U.S. wars. Because once we say we're better than this, that is the voice of U.S. hegemony, right? And it's hard. It's hard to get the man out of your head. I'm still doing it. I've been doing this shit for over a decade. And everybody cares about black and brown people all of a sudden. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? But there are plenty of black and brown people dying at the hands of U.S. military around the world. And as a socialist, I'm obligated to say that another world is possible, right? We did that through universal pre-K, right? We showed we can tax the shit out of rich people to pay for our kids, for them to watch our kids. So here's something to focus on. $717 billion, that's the U.S. military budget. It could fund universal health care, it could fund free college. How many of y'all got student debt? Well, I got a lot. I'm the first one in my family to graduate high school, let alone go to graduate school, and I am in debt, tens of thousands of dollars. We could improve the infrastructure, we could reduce fossil fuel emissions. I did not give a, I'm going to be real with y'all. I did not give a fuck about fossil fuels when I was poor. I'm middle class now, and I understand that when the more that we careen into climate catastrophes, the more that it's going to impact third world countries, right? The so-called third world countries in the global south. So what's my point? Well, we can get there by joining DSA type of shit. So I'm going to say a chant. I'm going to close this off with a chant. From Colombia to the Middle East, we demand justice. We demand peace. From Colombia to the Middle East, we demand justice. We demand peace. From Colombia to the Middle East, we demand justice. We demand peace. Do I
you. She didn't make it earlier because she was working, so thank you for saying that you're her powerful words. And can we give it up for Ray, our MC, our drummer, and the team for that too. So I'm going to hand this to Ray to officially close us out, but thank y'all for, thank y'all for Inaugurate Justice! So one time, Black Lives Matter!
Black Lives Matter!
Thank y'all for coming.
Hey, I know y'all about to leave, but I just want to say one thing. We have... Y'all give them a round of applause, please. Thank you, Motorcade. We appreciate it. And for the rest of y'all, my comrades, I appreciate y'all's support tonight. Thank y'all for coming out. Y'all did a wonderful job. We woke up the streets and let them know what it was. And for those who helped with the accident, I appreciate it. Y'all jumped to action where y'all was supposed to. We did. As well as at 8 o'clock, we're supposed to be going to the ICE building. If y'all want to go, please go to support. That's our last movement tonight is the ICE building. Do all y'all know where it's at? All right, please come prepared. Stay together and stay safe. Black Lives Matter. Yeah.
Hey, good to see you. And gimbal malfunction again. There we go.